YouTube, we're here with the final build for the top 5 Bron squad center builds, man. And we got another situation where we have 2 different builds. This time I'm not over here kind of raging over, you know, Dwight Howard or trying to make multiple builds or anything like that. So anyway, this one in particular is actually just going to be it's a Marc Gasol build. Obviously we got Big Burrito over here, man. And we got 2 different versions of him just because it's another one of those situations that is kind of awkward where they made him one height, but in reality he's listed as a different height. And I don't know if like maybe he was listed at 7'1" some point in his career, but obviously on Basketball Reference he's listed at 6'11". And like obviously like he's got his 7'4" wingspan, 255 pounds even listed on there as well, or at least like the 255 pounds listed on there. Like in 2K, like in the actual roster, it practically says that he is 255 pounds, 7'4" wingspan, which is kind of accurate. Then we go to the template, it shows that he's 255 pounds and 7'4" as well, but he's 7'1" for some reason. And I also even taken a look, and I do believe that his builds are also 6'11", but we can also go in there and check as well, which I will actually do like here in a second. But it's just one of those situations where I just wanted to try and get the shades of the first time I did it with this version right here, the 2-way 3-level glass cleaner. Dope name, and I really like the idea of it, but I just didn't get the shades of for him that I wanted. And then we went to 7'1", did it kind of like closer to the way of the, like I literally took the route of going into the template itself and then reworking it, like practically going into the template and then working backwards from the template just to get it to a place where I think it's pretty good. And then I still didn't get the shades of. So it's like, whatever, I don't care anymore. I just really want to get this build out here, especially like this 2-way 3-level glass cleaner, because I think it's really solid. Both of them are pretty solid for what they're going for, and they're in my reasonings for their stats to be how they are. So if anything, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go to the roster real quick just to show you guys what I was talking about earlier. And then we will go into the actual builder and show you guys these builds. All right, we are in the roster, and just to show you guys, this is the all-time Grizzlies. This was practically the one that I really wanted to make. And this one is a 2-way 3-level glass cleaner. Same build name as I was able to get with my version, except that you can see right here, he's 265 on this one with 6'11", although it's like in real life, he's listed at 255 and everything. So I wonder if I did change the weight and all that stuff, maybe if I could possibly get the shades of if I went 265 on this, like on the 2-way 3-level glass cleaner version. That's just something that I'll obviously check out here in a minute. But just to show you guys that I know what I'm talking about and I'm just not making up random shit, where it's like his builds on here, especially the all-time Grizzlies one, which obviously that's what he's most known for, being, you know, on the Grizzlies, because then he spent like 1 year in Toronto, which was the 2018, 2019, 2020, I think it was the 2019 Raptors that he was on, because he is on the 2018, 2019 roster list. So I think it was like about halfway through the season, or not even halfway, but like part way through the season where he got traded. And then obviously like the last like season of his career, he ended up being in LA with the Lakers, and that's just where he just kind of took off, like because he had like the 1 full year after being traded partway through the season in Toronto, and then he had the full season after that where they didn't win the title, because that was the year that Bron and the Lakers won it. And then the season after that, his final season, that's where he was on the Lakers roster, which he played and started a significant amount of games for him being like late in his career. So it's pretty cool. But even on Basketball Reference, he's listed at 6'11", 255 pounds. So it's just one of those situations that's just kind of awkward, because if we actually go in here, and I'm not going to pause it, I'm not going to make any cuts here just to show you guys that I'm not fucking around with this shit. Like if I go into here and just go here, he is listed at 7'1", 255 with a 7'4" wingspan. So it's like most of that stuff is, you know, accurate based on, you know, real life stuff and everything like that. But here it is a 7'1" to 6'11" difference. There's like a big difference there. That's literally 2 whole inches of difference. But obviously, it is still a pretty good build. And I kind of, like I mentioned, I reworked this one a little bit. There's a lot of similarities in between the two, but there's also one major difference in between the two, really, where it's like, and I'll tell you guys when we get there, but there's just like a couple of differences, and they're not really like anything too crazy. But I'm going to go into this first one, the 6'11" version, just to show you guys what my version was here and tell you why everything is why they are what they are, I guess, if I can even fucking speak. But anyway, so this particular version, we went with the 6'11" version here, and I wanted to get the 2-way 3-level glass cleaner or whatever build name it was. And what we started off with was just trying to make it as close as possible to the template, and then reworking it into being like, okay, then we're just going to focus on all this stuff here. But the one thing that I definitely did think about was just like, okay, well, do we need playmaking? Because the all-time version, or at least like both roster versions that I have on this list for him, have lower playmaking stats than the template. Which, is that 100% accurate? I'm not going to be the one to judge that, because I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, like I've seen a lot of prime Marc Gasol. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I haven't seen a lot of Marc Gasol in his prime personally, but I do know obviously what he's really, really good at. And it just shocks me that one of his, that his builds here are just like, okay, he's got like a 60 something pass accuracy, but then they give him like an 86 insane pass accuracy, damn near calling him like a diming build on the template version, which is insane. So one thing that I definitely did here was just take the 92 post control, because the all-time version had a 93, and I'm like, there's no point in going for a 93. I'm just going to go with the typical 92, as I've talked about it before in a couple previous builds. Obviously, 92 is a really good threshold. Don't really think there's a point in going to a 93. We just kept that at 92. It originally called for an 80 standing dunk. The template obviously has an 85. I don't really think that's 100% necessary. I just went ahead and dropped it down to an 81. The only thing that's really, really good for getting that 83 plus is just for the sake of fast twitch, really, because it's like you need a 90 for both rise up and precision dunker. And then aerial wizard, you will need an 84. So that would be like the only reason why. But I don't really think 100% it's necessary, because it's not like you're going to be catching lobs and doing standing dunk lobs off of these, especially with this particular player. Unlike, you know, like, not saying that you're never going to, but obviously, like, if you want to play exactly like Marc Gasol, you're not really going to be doing that. Not saying that you never will be, but you're not going to as much. So we have the driving layup here being a 77 as well. They called for like an 80 driving layup on the all-time version, which was fine by me, but obviously I dropped it down a little bit just because we're kind of like super, super limited, and I didn't realize how limited we were until I started making this. But then also they had like a 95 close shot. I'm just like, okay, I don't have like the attributes to be able to do that and do like everything that I was kind of wanting to. So one thing that I did as well was just like, okay, we need the 88 interior defense. They call for a 96, and I'm like, that's not going to happen. I did a 71 perimeter defense as well, something a little bit different. here, because even though none of the builds called for this, I just felt like it would have been a lot better to have that 71 perimeter defense, because if we're not going to get interceptor and not get anything really here on perimeter defense, then I just feel like we're just kind of wasting points here trying to upgrade these when we could just not touch them at all. So I just went ahead and just got the perimeter defense. You could obviously take away the perimeter defense if you don't really give a shit about it, and then add in the pass accuracy from your perimeter defense stats. And that would be perfectly fine, because that's typically what is causing you to have such a high acceleration as well, is that perimeter defense. So you could take away that perimeter defense situation and get that pass accuracy back and make it a little bit easier. Or if you still don't care that much about the pass accuracy, and you're really just going to be one of those situations where if you have the ball, like just like I talked about with Shaq and Dwight Howard, especially in the previous video, if you guys have seen that, you guys will know that I talked about the situation where it's like these players are necessarily like, they're not necessarily players that are going to be getting the ball and then looking for another person to make a play with. If they had the ball in their hands, they're more than likely looking to score a basket. And that's kind of like this situation here where it's like, even if you did have like a little bit of a ball handle or a pass accuracy, it's not like you're going to have a super high pass accuracy anyway. And you're going to be really just utilizing it just for, passing down court on fast breaks, or just, making sure that you can at least just get the ball out of your hands if necessary. But it's just one of those situations as well where I think you're going to be utilizing a lot of post control. You're going to be using your mid-range and three-pointer significantly. And also, if you were to just take down the perimeter defense, you can put it into close shot as well to be a little bit more effective on the post scoring aspect. But I feel like utilizing the post scoring aspect a little bit more towards the standing dunk, and you can still do close shots. And I like personally, after they like patched like the hook shots and all that, I don't believe in the whole concept of, doing like hooks or anything like that. So it's like, if you are going to be doing like post moves and stuff like that, you have to be saucy with it in order to get like the wide open, like up and under, or maybe you can get like a lot of space off of a post hop shot or post fade or something like that. But it's not like I can really see myself, specifically me in my playstyle, doing like a lot of hook shots or trying to be like super crazy by doing like drop steps and all this kind of stuff, like where I'm just trying to be like a dominant big man, kind of like Shaq. So it's like here, I would just utilize it just for the sake of doing up and unders, trying to get those foul calls so I can get to the line because I'm a decent free throw scorer. And then obviously, like, I have my mid range and my 3-pointer that's going to be utilized a lot. So in this particular build, that's kind of like the idea that I had, where it's just like I wanted to make sure that I had the ability to be called a two-way, 3-level kind of build, but then with the defensive rebound and the offensive rebound being how they are as well, gives me that name as well of adding glass cleaning to the end of it, which is exactly what is the all-time Marc Gasol from the Grizzlies is called, the 2-way 3-level glass cleaner. So it's a really, really cool concept. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here that is practically like the same as the other build. And then there's like a lot of differences, but just to show you guys that there is no shades of Marc Gasol here, but we do have Miles Turner. As you can see there, we got Miles Turner. So I'm already happy, and it makes a lot of sense. It honestly does make a lot of sense too, where it's a 2-way 3-level glass cleaner. Although I would take the glass cleaner name out of this because I don't really think Miles Turner deserves the glass cleaner title here. He can grab boards, but as a Pacers fan, I will say this is not Miles Turner because Miles Turner is not like really like that in the post or anything like that. He's more of like a he's more of like a shot blocking 3-level threat or something like that. We need a shot blocking name. Is there any like besides like rim protector, is there like a name with shot blocking in it? That would be pretty cool. I think we had like a shot blocking wing at one point, like a few years ago or something like that. Maybe that was like 20 or something. I don't remember, but I just know that he's like a shot blocking spot up threat is what Miles Turner can be called, but or a two-way spot up threat, something like that. But this is a two-way 3-level glass cleaner, pretty cool. And I got Ronnie Sikali. I like, obviously, like, I've heard of this guy before. I don't know how to say his fucking name. Is it Roni? Is it Ronnie? How the fuck do you say his last name? An all-time Heat player, though, as well. I thought that was pretty fucking cool that we got, you know, like somebody different here as well. And while actually making this build, not only did I get this guy, but I got Dave Cohen's, David Robinson, and also who else did I get? I'm trying to think of Bill Lambier, Dave Cohen's, David Robinson. It's pretty insane. The names and everything that, or the players that I was able to get. So backing out now, just so we can immediately show you guys the next one. I'll try to not talk as long on this one because there's a lot of similarities in between the two, but there's also a lot of differences. The main differences in this build, obviously, besides just having a little bit more height advantage on this build, is the fact that you have a little bit more scoring in the close shot, just so you are able to be more effective from the post. You do have just slightly better shooting just by like 1 point, which, you know, is pretty crazy because you get that Claymore on gold, and then you also get that blinders on gold as well. And then also on this build, you get the pass accuracy to a 68. And then you also have, you know, the same, you know, 88 defense and everything like that, but you don't get anchor on silver. So this original version of the build, the template version of the build, had it be like a 60 steal. So we still had the 60 steal rating, which is pretty good. Then we also have the 77 block rating. So there's also that. I mean, don't know what else to say about that. Which is pretty interesting that they would consider having that be so low. At the same time, does make a little bit of sense. And then the offensive rebound is only a 75. And then we increased the defensive rebound to a 90 at least, just so we can get a little bit more there. Since we are like sacrificing our acceleration and speed, because this is what they call for on the template as well. So in this build, going from top to bottom, comparing the two builds, you have better post scoring. Well, technically you are a better post scorer with without the ability, without as good of an ability to drive as the other one. Just slightly lower post control, but that's okay. Just a slight edge on shooting. It's nothing too crazy though. And then you also get a pass accuracy high enough to where you can get break starter, but in the end, your interior defense lacks, and your rebounding kind of lacks, and your perimeter defense lacks. So it's like you lack in a lot of things that the other build has, and then it's like the main difference in between the two, and the main I would say like the main advantage of this build over the other one is literally just the post scoring and the pass accuracy. That's literally the only advantage I see this build having, which is why me personally, I prefer the 611 build. I know people in the Discord when I posted both of these, because I honestly couldn't just choose, because I originally wanted to make the video on just one of them. But obviously with what I did with the white, I just said, fuck it, here's two versions. But here on this one as well, I just decided, well, I know that some of the people in the Discord really like, this version, but I also really like the 611 version, just because like it's a play style that, you know, you have seen from the other builds before where they have low pass accuracies. So I understand why probably some of the guys would want to see this one, just because it has a better pass accuracy than all the other ones that we have seen before. So we finally have a big man that has a little bit of a pass accuracy here. But at the same time, it does lack in the defense that the other one kind of has, because the other one has an 87 block rating and has just slightly better rebounding, especially those rebounding attributes, is a little bit, slower than the 6'11" one as well, and has a lower vertical. So you're not able to utilize as much of a vertical for your rebounds or anything like that. So you don't get that chase down artist on silver. So it's just one of those things where it's like you lack in defense where the other build thrives, and then where you thrive in pass accuracy and post scoring, the other build lacks. So it's just one of those things where it's like the mid-range and three-pointer, it's like the only thing about this is that it just reaches certain thresholds in a better break point, I would say, in my personal opinion, than, the 6'11" one. But it doesn't really like matter that much to me to where I would pick this one just strictly off of that. Because the other one is still really, really good, has a good break point with the 88 mid-range, and the 81 three-pointer is still pretty good. But if I was able to just bring the wingspan down to like 7'3" just to get that 89 and 82 thresholds, then that would be really, really strong, and it would make a lot of sense to me to be able to do that. And then I would even sacrifice the perimeter defense. So it's like on the other version, I can see why a lot of people would like this version better than the other one. Like I said, the pass accuracy is probably the main reason. You can still grab rebounds with this. You're not going to be as effective on the block, but you can still get some stops there. So I could see why everybody in the Discord that likes this particular build likes it. And, I can see why they can have an argument for it as well. But there is like some other things I can do with the 6'11" version that could possibly make it like even better than this one. And it's just one of those situations where it's like, do you prefer better shot blocking and rebounding, than post scoring and passing? It's just one of those situations. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, just to show you guys what the shades of are on this one, because it's a different name. We got Arvidas, we got Yusuf Nurkic, and we also have, once again, Miles Turner. So, it's crazy. 2-way, 3-level threat. Both of these names are viable because Marc Gasol is obviously a 2-way, 3-level threat. It makes sense. As well as the 2-way, 3-level glass cleaner also makes sense because that's his all-time version. But let me know which one you think is better. Tell me which one you guys would prefer. Would you guys prefer the 7'1" version or the 6'11" version? And also tell me what you guys would possibly do differently with these builds to try and make it a little bit more effective and, more like towards its max potential, so to say. So if you guys know any ideas on what you guys would do for these builds to help it reach its max potential, make it a little bit better, let me know in the comment section below. Yeah, this is the final center build. We're going to be moving on to power forward soon, and then going into small forwards and shooting guards and then point guards. Yeah, we're going to try and keep this going up until we start getting information for 2K25 here in August. I'm guessing, within the next couple weeks here, we should be getting information on pre-order stuff, possibly later this month, as well as the cover athlete. A lot of us are predicting Vince Carter. I know a lot of people on Twitter or X is predicting Vince Carter as well. I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be coincidental because we made the idea of the next LeBron squad kind of grind being with the Vince Carter and Vince Carter teammates. So it's going to be one of those situations where it's going to be interesting to see if our prediction comes true and if the coincidence just happens to be there. But anyway, that's going to be it for me. Hope that you guys enjoyed. I'll see you all in the next one.